The man was in the middle of robbing the bank when his colleague who was supposed to be off work suddenly came back to clock in. David was still busy moving the cash. He had no idea the colleague heard some noise. He walked in to take a look and saw David. Even a fool could tell what was happening.
I'm gonna tell Chad on your ass. I caught you red-handed.
David instantly tensed up. His hand moved toward the gun at his waist.
You said it wasn't no overtime this weekend.
Oh, you're right. There's no overtime. I'm just picking up an extra shift.
The colleague spoke like a seasoned worker, and the reason for his anger was David secretly working overtime. He angrily turned around and left. David finally breathed a huge sigh of relief. He went back to moving the cash. It took him a full 2 hours, and it wasn't until dark that he finally filled the entire van. After finishing, David immediately disabled the vault's cameras and stole the surveillance tapes, but he missed the last one. By then David couldn't wait to celebrate. A graceful dance was captured by the surveillance, but then the man ran into trouble because the van was so full of cash. The back door wouldn't close. With no choice, David climbed into the van, intending to rearrange things. However, the door couldn't be opened from the inside. David ended up locking himself in. To make matters worse, the walkie-talkie was also outside. Now he was completely stuck. The police hadn't even arrived yet, and he had already imprisoned himself. But looking at the van full of cash, how could David give up easily? He decided to climb through the small window into the driver's seat. Then something unexpected happened. He got stuck because of his big butt. David saw the duct tape on the passenger seat and came up with another idea. He bundled stacks of cash together and tied them to his hands. David used one hand to start the ignition and the other hand to press the clutch with the cash. The engine started successfully. Then he stepped on the gas, and the van plunged into a ditch. His accomplices didn't care about David's fate. They opened the van and were stunned by the sight of all the cash. They were completely speechless. According to the carpenter's plan, the prime suspect David had to flee to Mexico to lay low. Once the money was divided, Kelly would meet up with him. To avoid security checks, she stuffed $20 million into David's back pocket. With the fake IDs they prepared in advance, they headed straight to the airport. Before coming, Kelly even disguised David